Oh, yeah! Happy Comic Book Day, and thank you to Bad Mary for that too sweet playing. Welcome to U.S. Comics Cast, all you mother suckers, four color funny book aficionados. Who has adjusted my script? This is U.S. Comics Cast, Chapter 2, Episode 13, one topic, 60 minutes for the people. I am John Rivera, choking on my words, the CEO and co-founder of U.S. Comics.
And if you're the CEO, that must make me the COO of U.S. Comics, the co-founder, the co-host, the Long Island Lothario, your absolutely undisputed, tired as hell, Charlie Rivera. My dear brother, happy Comic Book Day.
Happy Comic Book Day to you, sir. And I have to say, somewhat selfish of you to not also choke on your own introduction.
Sorry.
I see now how you are. One way, bro. One way.
Sorry, man. It's a problem. You know what it is? It's like I
Selfish.
piss excellence. So like that's it gets in the way of being like just so good. I haven't slept in 2 days, but I'm still so good. Tired, can't catch my breath, dying slowly.
Yeah.
But
any of those things would have been entirely acceptable. But considering that here we are with plenty of Titanic boom boom action on HBO Max, I can't really even be mad about it. Between all the absolutely dynamite comics out there just waiting to be read, I am personally enjoying a little bit of a heyday talking about some of my comics, which are now seeing new life in other capacities, other adaptations. So I'm going right back to those Game of Thrones days where I'm like, hey, you know what's really cool? Oh, I can't help myself. I am the worst.
Invincible is like the most. I have people like, have you ever heard of Invincible? I'm like, have I heard about it?
Like,
did you know? Yeah, it's so exciting. And since it's so fucking good, even the second episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're busting out characters that I'm like, would you like a 2-hour lesson on this smooth son of a bitch?
Not for anything, but the fact of the matter is that it may have been Agatha all along, but Fridays, once again, are must-watch TV. It is unbelievable, and it's more than one show. So you got to sit down, get comfortable, get your juice box. It's honestly, it's kind of a throwback to when we were younger, and Saturday morning cartoons really dominated the landscape because you're in there with your feety pajamas, you're getting all comfortable, you got your snacks, you put your feet up, and you just set yourself because you are going to be there making a dent in the couch for hours, son.
You know what's ridiculous about it though is I've never contextualized it that way. It really is like adult Saturday morning.
100%.
It's adult because it's like not specific times. You tune in when you can, but if you don't watch it as soon as you can, you got to turn off your internet for a while.
No,
it's like
true.
I'm just not going to do it because you're not going to ruin this for me, internet.
You have to turn off your "I'm going to be bothered by everything" button, which, as we well know, people have activated in overdrive right now. But
they were allergic to not using that shit.
This is true. That being said, I do want to kick us off with some of the new. There's plenty of new going on out there, but that's for that's consumables. Sometimes the new are tangible. So I think we should start off today, Charlie. Why don't we with another unboxing?
Ooh,
we were joined last week by the fertility idol from our boy Dr. Indy Jones, but we have a new addition to the fam. So I do want to get started. Now I want to preface this by saying I got some guff. And
like normal after every episode?
No, like not at all like the guff you'll give me later for my trashed introduction earlier. No, this was guff that like actually hurt my feelings. That I actually like
Who attacked
bothered me. I don't want to throw names around, but it wasn't even one name. So what I'll say
you?
is
Holy
this:
crap.
I got some guff over my method of unboxing, and these were not, Game of Thrones haters. They just basically gave me the impression that it was not a sufficient. It wasn't a satisfactory unboxing with the tiny little version of a long claw. So that being said,
Oh,
I
God.
am gonna go ahead and level up for this unboxing. So for you haters out there, stop your complaining or save it for Charlie's segment, because we're taking it to another level, baby. So
First of all, I do not approve the use of something that made
what?
that sound when being unsheathed. You're going to lose a thumb, and it's a much different show.
I've got another one. It should be fine. So what I think we're gonna do is we are going to do this unboxing properly. We got our machete ready. No, you know what? I'm sorry, that's the wrong box. That is the wrong box. This
Holy crap.
is the proper box. Now you might think, Funko, it's kind of a big box. Did John get a dozen of something that he's sending Charlie 11 of?
Ooh.
No.
Is
So
it just a Charlie pop?
I
It's
will-
correctly ratioed?
I will say this. Again, we all know. Don't worry about my address. We all know my level of fandom for the good doctor, the archaeologist that we all love, the 5 o'clock shadow having motherfucker, Indiana Jones. We also know that both Charlie and I are true lovers of the Funko Pops.
This is true.
Now Charlie, in his eminent goodness, was able to acquire for me. Actually, you can. Yep, there he is over there.
Yeah.
So
Jeep.
the indie pops that they came out with, 1, 2, and 3 were park exclusives. So they got gobbled up like the Easter candy that's about to be gobbled up in a couple of days. They just went super quick, and as pops tend to do, they just went buck wild on the secondary market.
Yes.
and third
That was
dairy.
like an instant hundo.
It
you
was
had to
like
drop.
it was an overnight type of increase, and we've got a policy. We don't pay for it around here, so to speak. So I was kind of left out in the cold, very upset. Charlie came through with the
And Indy.
Indiana ride, so I did have in my collection properly an Indiana Jones pop, and happened to be from the California adventure, which I didn't even know about till I saw the damn thing. So that being said, some other options have come
Oh, baby.
to light. So I guess we'll shift around this way, and
This is a scary situation. Yeah, this is good.
All right.
No, great. Let's flip the
you
machete.
can hold machetes this way,
For
right?
those just listening, this is a
Oh,
12.
that was a
He's
pinky.
holding the
That was a
blade.
pinky.
There's no way there's not going to be blood. What is happening? He is using a 2-foot
The
machete.
machete. The machete. I cut myself. The machete is working.
It is clearly not working. If you're not watching,
It
the
cut everything
video
from the
version,
box to my hand. There might be some bone in there. That's fine.
Oh, terrific. And
All
he's
right.
just going to pull it open anyway. For those of
pull
you
her
just
open.
listening, if for no other reason, check us out on
Go
Facebook,
ahead.
YouTube, or Twitch.
Go
because
ahead
John's
and
going to lose a limb.
just dial 9-1 and wait, because we're probably going to need some help. So let me make sure the camera's picking this up. Got some little bubble action. So you want to see Charlie go crazy when he's going to have to edit this audio later? Squeeze some of these guys. Charlie, you liking that? You liking that? All right, cool.
We have
let's
chainsaw
peel her
requests for
back.
next week, by the way.
Oh, my boy's upside down. Drink it in.
Do it.
Ooh,
baby.
what? What?
Is that a 12-inch Indiana Jones?
Charlie, it's not the size. It's how you use it. And no, it's not. But
Is that the...
it is a 10-inch
Wow.
Indiana Jones. Woo,
That
baby.
is
Should we break
frickin'
the seal here?
do it.
All right.
Do it.
To all my fellow Funko Pop collectors, I apologize for what I'm about to do, but he's got to breathe, kids.
You got to let him breathe. You hit your mute. You hit your mute. You're falling apart this week. You're using a machete. You're cutting yourself.
I didn't hit
You're
mute.
turning off your mic.
Sometimes you gotta let him breathe.
Don't be
whip
an
him out,
apologist.
and play with him.
Don't be an apologist. You from breastises
Woo!
down to yourself. You like to whip them out and play with them.
Ooh, baby. Look at that. He's basically wearing a life-size hat, and I only know this because I have an Indiana Jones hat. Oh,
This is fantastic.
Charlie is loving this plastic crinkles.
Yeah, it's not at all killing my soul.
Charlie is crossing birthday and Christmas gifts off of my list because I am making his life that much harder. Oh, just appreciate this though. Look at this little.
That is tremendous. Is that heavy?
Grogu. You know what? It's funny because we unboxed the actual idol last week. He's about as heavy as the idol and actually a little taller.
I feel like I must have the 10-inch Stay Puffed, but it's not in the office. I have to have it at my house. Oh, look at the cuddles. Look at that 10 inches of perfection.
Merchandising.
It could double as a John Pop if he had a beard.
This is I mean, he's got the 5 o'clock shadow, but
dude,
this
is it insane that I like prefer
so
the
detail
10-inch ones?
specific? Well, here's the problem is like this instantly makes you want to be Shaquille O'Neal sized because this is basically us holding a regular sized pop would be what he looks like holding these. So that I mean the details on like you can see the buttons and the buckles and
that's crazy.
You can see the outline of the stuff that he has in his pockets.
That is tremendous.
The
what does
stitching
that cost?
On the shoes. Listen, Charlie,
that
is an off. That's an off the air topic.
Fair enough. You know what?
But he is also a secondary market purchase because he was as well a park exclusive, as the sticker will go ahead and illustrate.
Very cool.
But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And
how bad are you bleeding on it right now with your bad hand?
I mean, it's a cut.
You did cut yourself.
Yeah, I told you I called the shot, bro.
Dude, our mother
but it was
watches
worth
this
it.
show.
It was so worth it.
All right, so for your birthday, I'm gonna get you another small machete because you can't be trusted with a real one.
Actually, I was hoping you would get me the 10-inch compatible version of the ride. So this way we have like we'll do like an Ant-Man situation.
Well, there's not a lot of properties that I love as much as Indiana Jones, despite the one big issue, and it's not that he should be canceled because occasionally he
how dare you?
Everyone always tries to say he's problematic, but there is one person involved with Indiana Jones that is problematic. And that, of course, is the fact that George Lucas is a liar.
George Lucas, I love you, no chin, have an ass, but sir, you are a liar because Han shot first. Put him up.
Clinky. Oh, baby, if you want that recipe, you hit us up anywhere on our social media at US Comics HQ.
It's appropriate. A little stinger.
Boy. Do you need to wrap that up? I can talk while you.
Nah, that's all right. I can't hemorrhage that long.
This week, before we run into our first topic, we got some news. We got this week in US Comics, John.
Oh, you know what? Let's save that for in between topics. We'll do it in between topics.
Done and done. Well, if that's the case, let's get our first topic rolling. We did have in the comment section here, because we are live on YouTube, Twitch, and the Facebook machine. We did have one of our people reach out, ask if King Kong versus Zilla will be safe. It will be safe this week. You're welcome. However, next week, at bare minimum, we are going to be peeping that out. I did see it, but I'm going to reserve any sort of facial tics.
We need to wrap up this show somewhat in a timely manner because I'm watching it immediately after this.
Fantastic. I look forward to not hearing your opinion until next week on this very show.
So, Ellis, you don't have to worry about wrapping it up, baby. We're clean. We're clean, son.
I don't know about John now that he has blood everywhere.
Yeah,
John, start my time, you delicious man.
Let's start it. Beep. Now.
So you got some guff, as the kids say.
I did.
Because of your tiny little, your No, not the piney tiny. We're not talking about
Oh,
that.
oh, my bad, my bad.
And obviously, you upgraded to a machete and you cut
That's
yourself.
true. You're
For those
talking a
that are
lot
just
of
joining
trash
us,
for a guy holding a machete.
I wound up getting into a litany of arguments on the backside of last week's video episode with people's opinion about the Snyderverse. I kind of got it from both ends because despite saying I love it, and I do, I also brought up the fact that it's like not particularly good.
I mean,
Emotionally, I'm all in.
most of that stuff came from me. So I do apologize. There was really no need for that profanity. I take 90% of it back.
Well, you are like, if
I
nothing
don't
else,
I,
you're a
I
rude
I
person.
don't want a separation legally from Charlie. You're still allowed to be my brother.
Fair enough, fair enough. But the conversation that kind of came out of it, at least the healthy conversation, was whether or not this is setting an unhealthy precedent
Mm.
where the people get what they want. And I'm going to start off here because I know you have an opinion about it. But the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad trended for a little bit. The original director of Suicide Squad seemingly had a lot of control taken away. So I'm going to kick it right to you to start my topic. Are you up for the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad?
You know, the term dangerous precedent gets thrown around a lot. It really gets thrown around a lot. And much like most things, in my experience, my humble opinion is that you just can't paint with broad strokes all the time, as easy and as convenient as that would be. So much like anything else in reality, you have to look at situations on an individual basis. And the reason I say that is because as much as I didn't enjoy the Snyder cut
Yeah.
for all, what do you say, like the whole is greater than the sum of the parts that it's made
Yeah.
of. So there were parts of the Snyder cut of Justice League that I very much liked, but as a whole, I was like, that hole stinks, like the one in the Fudge Factory. You understand what I'm saying? So again, but that all being established, I would have, if they put an online piece of paper in front of me and signed it, to say, should he be able to, should Snyder, with the situation being what it was and him being who he is and having the track record that he does, making money for studios, should he be allowed to complete his his 90% finished project? I would say, and still would say, having seen it, yes, he absolutely should, but not as a general rule, right? I'm not going to
Why?
write that into my
So,
constitution
but
because, and
specific,
here's,
yeah.
I'll give you the exact reason. Because the reason why I signed off when nobody asked me, I signed off on the Snyder Cut because of all of those things that I just mentioned. The tragic reason that he had to step away from it in the first place. His track record of, to John, enjoyable movies. Granted, I didn't have a lot invested necessarily in Sucker Punch. I didn't have as much invested in something like 300 or Watchmen even. And I acknowledge Watchmen as one of the all-time greatest comic books ever fucking written,
As you
but
should.
I enjoyed his movie adaptation as junk food. Right? I wasn't expecting vitamin C, vitamin D, and vitamin H, if there even is one. I was just like, you know what? Entertain me for give or take 2 hours. And largely he has done that with his projects. I haven't liked his take. So if indeed this signals the end of the Snyderverse, I'm all for it because I was not a particular fan of his version of these characters.
Sure.
Now, that again, put that up on the shelf. That doesn't mean that when somebody like David Ayer comes along, is like, oh, I wasn't allowed to make the movie I wanted to. Sorry, pal, but to me, you don't have the body of credentials where it justifies my attention. So
Fair
he
enough.
may indeed get that loot and be able to go back behind closed doors and make his cuts that he wants to cut. Maybe he's even allowed to film some extra scenes. Again, we know that Snyder got, you really can't use the Snyder example because there was so much above board things that were done for him, like, or rather
Sure.
excessive allowances that were given to him. You can't expect that to be the case for everybody.
But
Even like in a
see-
situation like with Superman 2. You
Well,
cannot possibly have
what
said
do you
that was cool.
Wait. I don't even follow that train of logic. We're going
Where'd I
to
lose you?
agree. We're going to agree and put on a shelf the extenuating circumstances
Yes.
that led to the Snyder cut. 'Cause
Snyder-
there were a billion of them.
Yeah.
However, there is far more stories of studios interfering sometimes after the movie's shot. I don't want to give David Ayer more money to shoot more scenes.
Okay.
That movie got cut to shreds.
So
let me
in
finish
that
my point.
particular instance, you're talking about re-editing?
Well, but listen, I'll make it a bigger point. In this particular case, I am talking about re-editing.
Okay.
However, if you told me that a bunch of people online were clamoring for it, and then you had to throw the guy $1 million more to fully redo it based on now the feedback, because that's the rub that Snyder got that a lot of people are no longer talking about. He didn't just get to finish his vision. He had the superpower of he found out what worked and what didn't based on that weird amalgam.
Like Monday morning quarterback?
Totally. So now if you're telling me that, because it's kind of two different conversations that I'm talking about today. There's the definitive director's vision that might involve money, and then there's a long-standing tradition of director's cut. You mentioned it with Superman 2. Superman 2 and Superman 2, the director's cut,
They're two different movies.
are not completely different, but vastly
They're
different.
pretty
movies.
different. They're pretty different.
They have completely different secondary plots. They have different reasons that scenes are cut together. We have seen now with the Snyder cut this exception to the rule. Admittedly, I don't want suddenly every movie to get a 4-hour cut. But if you told me that we can get a sea of director's cut based on requests, why in 2021, why is the only person allowed to ruin a movie the studio? So the studio
The answer
hires
is
a
very
director.
simple.
They have the money?
No, it's their movie.
But
here's the thing. So
Yeah.
you write a script. Charlie Rivera writes a script without John, which I got to tell you is a huge mistake. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Fair enough.
But you
I don't know how to read, so I think writing's off the table.
You drunkenly decide to write a script on your own. You're like, okay. So in essence, you're pulling a Sylvester Stallone, right, with Rocky.
Oh, it's
And you
that
say,
good?
here's
Damn.
this. No, it's not. It's not.
Partnership over.
I just meant the mumbling part. So you write a script, and then you go and you shop it around. And your slyism is that not necessarily that you need to star in it, but like I need to direct it. And then so there are multiple people involved. But let's just pretend we're talking about a single house that is
Sure.
going to pay for the movie to be made and also distributed, even though those are sometimes very wildly different voices. But let's say we have one place that's going to pay for the movie to be made, do all of the name recognition that would matter, because at this point, Charlie Rivera as a screenwriter, nobody's ever heard of. Charlie Rivera as a director, even less people have heard than that. If they came to me, I'd be like, Charlie directs? Get the fuck out of here. So now you have that agreement because they love your script so much.
Yeah.
But Charlie, even in that situation, that imaginary scenario, because that's never going to happen, that's not your movie anymore.
Sure.
You know
Why?
who? I'll go ahead and tell you, because the guy who, and we swing from the Schwartz almost on a weekly basis here. The one guy that comes to mind that could say this is entirely mine, written, directed, and produced, is Kevin fucking Smith. and he did it on plastic. So until you're doing that, and if you're gonna make the movie that I imagine, the fictional movie that you want to make, if you've got the plastic to pay for that your damn self, then we need to talk about my budget for Christmas, because as great as you've been, you're coming up short, son.
Let me ask
that's
you
a lot of money.
Let me ask
Money
you a quick
talks.
question then. Let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
I know. Do you have super fond memories of the live action Clerks sitcom?
Not particularly.
Isn't that one of your favorite shows? Oh no, because it sucked monkey dick, right? Because they took Kevin.
I only got to
Smith's-
drag monkeys into this.
They
Jesus.
took a creation of Kevin Smith, which admittedly had one very good note for the ending. The studio had him change the ending because Dante was supposed to die at the end of the film.
Right.
And then they made arguably the worst TV pilot I've ever seen in real life. So when a studio, right, gets the opportunity, the studio hires someone or buys a script. Rocky worked out pretty fucking good, no?
I would say so. Hell yeah.
Work out well? And when they eventually let him, because at first he was like, I got to star in it. Because if he was like, I got to star and direct in it, they wouldn't have paid him at all. He would have never gotten his dog back. The nonsense involved with like, okay, we're going to trust you to make this movie. And then in the case of David Ayer, someone cuts together a very successful trailer. So they re-edit the whole film to match the vibe of a trailer.
Right.
Even though the script wasn't written that way.
Which was wrong.
It was
a
terrible
mistake.
fucking decision.
Again, as Monday morning quarterbacks, I agree. They do it all the time.
So
and those bad examples, hold on a second. Those bad examples are the ones that stick in our craw. And the bad examples are the ones where that particular creator says, hey, I want to do the director's cut because of X, Y, and Z. But what about all the good examples that you never hear about? You know, they say like you never hear a story about the guy who took a shot and fucking missed, because that's a terrible story. The inverse is true, because there are plenty of examples where somebody said, thank you for everything you've done. Here's your paycheck, because that's a society we live in. Now we'll take the ball and we'll run with it. We'll get it to the end zone. And when they did a bang-up job, and we all love it, and they're issuing awards, and they've got huge money coming in at the theaters, you don't hear those versions where the director's like, my version would have stunk on ice. Thank God for them. You never hear that.
Now, I agree, and I'll even go this far. I suspect that there are far more movies like that than, let's say, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, where they let Sam Raimi do Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
That movie could be called Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. There's two things I want to see. If people want it, right? If there are petitions being signed and people clamoring for it, why not acquiesce? Why not bring back the long-standing tradition of director's cuts?
Can I answer that question that you just posed?
Sure.
Okay, and I'll do it. I'm going to do the sin. I'm going to commit the sin of answering a question with a question. Sure. Charlie, why is it that people say things almost exhaustively like, why do they remake everything? Where are their original ideas? Why can't we get an adaptation about this, that, or the other, right? The consumers have always had plenty to say about things. This isn't new. The delivery system for the wah complaining is somewhat new, since we're not on dial-up anymore. But the idea that people have opinions and have their own, personal preferences, that is not new remotely. But the same answer would apply. Why do they keep on remaking things? Why don't we have new voices in Hollywood or on TV and yakety schmackety? That shit all applies also. So you're telling me you would rather see a retread of the original Suicide Squad than some new shit that's got its first at bat? That's got like a first at bat.
I think
in
that's
the game.
Horse shit.
How?
That is a horse, because you don't have to only have one.
But you do, though, because
but you
Charlie,
don't, because Robert
there's
Pattinson's Batman movie has been made, and the Snyder Cut just came out.
Who's paying for it then, Charlie? So
Warner Brothers did.
Excuse me. So in order for Ayer to have another crack at the bat,
Warner Brothers. Well, and also,
right. So what's not going to be made because of that?
What didn't get made because of the Snyder Cut?
U.S. Comics, the movie.
But
They were going to pay for it. I didn't want to tell you about the coal because I didn't think you could handle it.
Oh, well then fuck that movie. No, but see that I think is the false narrative.
It's
one
not,
of
though.
one of the
That's
team
practical.
members, it's not practical because it's fucking made up.
Charlie, if
We're
you
saying
spend
that-
money on
we're
a
saying that
lollipop,
Warner
you
Brothers-
can't have the fucking cake too. You gotta. Sometimes you have to pick, and it sucks, and it's not
the people,
quote unquote fair.
the
It is what it
people-
is.
I'm not asking for them to do something that's going to lose them money. I'm talking about the experiment. HBO Max very specifically as a streaming service, right now their investments have paid off. The biggest subscriber surge for HBO Max yet. So if they try it,
So we are going to use Snyder Cut as an example.
No, I'm saying what I'm saying is that had extra levels that I don't even need. What I'm saying is like, yes,
well,
of course,
it does have extra levels.
What I'm leaving is
the David Ayer cut going to be a 4-hour cut?
Well, no, but again, that's ultimately my point by putting it on a shelf. I'm not expecting everything to be the Snyder Cut. I don't want things to get $30 million. I'm talking about, in essence, director cuts coming back into the forefront and being allowed. Because even a director's cut is going to cost money. That's not lost to me. So if you do the David Ayer cut, because there's a group of people that want it, they're vocal. Why not try it?
They think that they want it. They think they want it.
Sure, but
did you like Godfather 3?
I didn't like Godfather 3.
Did you like Godfather 3 director's cut?
I didn't like Godfather 3.
Yeah,
but
of course not. Because
I do like
if
the
someone
Daredevil
is using the
cut.
same. But you see, again, you can't use Daredevil because you double swing from the shots, and he's so blind he can't even tell who's hanging down there.
I like the Superman 2 director's
cut.
Yeah,
everyone does because it's outstanding. So that now I'm swinging from the shots and I'm like banging into you because you're on one nut, I'm on the other.
Here's
no,
the
you can't use the things that you're already in love with.
We don't know until we know. Name a movie that was just okay. If you told me that there was a director's cut of fucking Ant-Man that maybe would be better than the Ant-Man I got, or Thor Dark World, like, oh, there's a really interesting... If I told you there was a Batman movie, right, where the whole world was like brightly colored and it was about Batman coping with the fact that he killed people in his previous outings and he can't get over it, and it's about self-discovery and he thinks his parents are dead because of him and then he finds out he's not. There's no part of you that's interested in that movie. That's Batman fucking Forever. It was a totally different film when it was shot.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm willing to pay for the maybe.
Don't use. Well, you're not paying for it. What you're paying for is either a ticket or a subscription. Yeah. But you have your. That's somewhat disposable, right?
But
because you can hold on a second. Let me finish my point. The people who it's not disposable to is the ones that have to pay for the production. So obviously you can't paint with a single brush and say that, well, everything is only going to be editing. Sometimes there will be additional shots that are required. And also, even just editing, that shit ain't free.
I said
that's somebody's time, and that's somebody's. They still need some place to do all that jazz.
Sure.
But that all being said, Charlie, what again? Snyder, we're gonna put on the shelf because that's not even a movie. That basically what he ended up doing was making fucking miniseries. Yeah. Like that was the longest shit ever. And I'm sorry, I don't care the shape of the cake. If the ingredients are doo-doo, I'm still not going to like the taste of the shit you're shoveling in my mouth. So that being said...
You eat something so weird.
Yeah, I do. I sit on it, and then eventually it gets where it's going, okay? Don't worry about it. So one of my favorite franchises, because I did like the most recent installment, ran into a literal carousel hell of exactly what you're talking about. Charlie, how does Blade Runner end?
Oh God, all 7 versions.
Yeah, exactly. We can do fucking multiple episodes of this show. There's one where he's an octopus. He's a fucking octopus.
You're saying
it's
one worse off because it has those cuts?
Yes, of course.
Why?
It is.
Some people prefer different versions.
But here's my original analogy.
Because you've steamrolled me for my whole topic.
I certainly haven't. You talked like the whole time.
What I'm saying is right now someone is always making decisions. So why is it always the logic of it's the studio's money, but how does the studio Make that money into more money in a perfect world. The
Make
consumer.
another movie.
John, we're going to talk about tax breaks now, like they film in
If
Ontario.
we have to.
John,
As long as they're not filming in Georgia,
the
because
fact of the
fuck
matter
Georgia.
is there's a billion Batman movies because Batman sells tickets.
Right.
So
there's
in
a million
world where-
Batman movies. There's not a million director's cuts of the fucking original Keaton version.
But what I'm fucking saying is like, sign me up until they consistently stink.
Isn't your
can't
time
just
worth
say no.
more than that? Let me
But
again.
why- but
Can I
you
can I
think an
use this
executive-
analogy?
You think an executive who doesn't give a fuck about Batman,
As
other
far
than
as
the
you know-
merchandising potential? Well, like, sure. The vast majority of executives are all super fans.
Like-
we know that they wound up with billions of dollars because
What are you doing for lunch?
They were trying to be Bruce Wayne. They just stopped short of the Batmobile. You're telling me that you wouldn't want to just for a little while try it like majority rules? Like, we're gonna fucking put up a poll.
It's
on
not
HBO
majority
Max?
rules because it's not as if you polled everyone who ever saw the original movie,
I'm
and then like
literally saying-
the vote went, okay, we are going to
I
do
am
director's cut. That
literally
makes no sense at
suggesting-
all.
I'm literally suggesting that
Yeah.
all subscribers of HBO Max get an email saying yay or nay to the fucking Ayer cut.
Well, what again? I have to get the analogy in before the first topic is
God
over.
damn it.
Sorry, if you're keeping score at home, this is going to be an E3, I guarantee. So you live in a relatively populated area, right? Like you're not forced to go to Stuckey's for like
This
everything
feels
that you
judgy.
need. Not at all. So you go to a restaurant
Yeah.
around the
delicious.
corner.
Not during
but
COVID,
but it's not delicious. You've never been to the restaurant before.
yeah.
You had signs opening soon. You're like, oh, it's right there. I can't wait to go try that restaurant. Then you go, you order your meal. You're not ordering something like completely foreign to you. Like, oh yeah, I like this thing. Then they hand you the plate and you're like, fucking disgusting. Or even if it's not disgusting, you're like, it was okay. You go home, you go about your business, you canoodle, you wrap it up. Wrap it up. Now, you're not super excited to like, let's go back there. I can't wait to go back there. So then somebody comes to you and is like, hey, Charlie, you know that restaurant? They got a new chef.
Okay.
But on the same token, there are 2 new other restaurants that open up down the street as well. Are you going to willingly go back to restaurant number 1 because you're like, hey, there's a new chef. Maybe this is better. Or you're going to say, you know what? There's 2 other restaurants that have never, ever had my attention.
Let me adjust your analogy.
Just answer the question.
Let me adjust your analogy because you're missing one flaw.
You're like, I go to all the restaurants.
If restaurant A is the grilled cheese kingdom, restaurant B is fried chicken, and restaurant C is Chinese food, and I'm craving grilled cheese, I'm gonna go to the grilled cheese place because the part you left out
What
was
if they're
the
all
reason,
grilled cheese places?
The reason, but they're not.
But
They're
they
fucking
are.
not, because I'm allowed to have 2 suicide squads right now. Because you're telling me that grilled cheese place, you're telling me the grilled cheese place, the owner of the store told the chef he wasn't allowed to use cheese, so I got some buttered ass bread.
But
because
that's regardless.
it's not
There's
regardless.
2
Because
other
I would
brand new
rather-
restaurants to try.
I would rather trust the director who made a bad movie that looked like it could have been good than I would a fucking studio executive in the goddamn in some office.
The fact of the
counting
matter
his
is that
back
you're
bucks.
just far more forgiving than I am. You're the Grinch, bro. You pretend that you had a green very hard, and you're really like, go, 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 go.
I can't stay mad at you when the goal song plays.
Look at that Punham. You can't be mad at him.
I want to know what you jerks on the internet think. You can tell us in our comment section. We can address a couple at the end of the show. But I am very, very.
Your mother with your. Oh, I'm with the machete. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that, family.
Just because you lost a piece of body. We want to know what you think. You can comment.
Is necessary.
You can hit us up on all of our social media. It's at US Comics HQ across all platforms. You can watch the video version of this show right here on Facebook, YouTube, and the Twitch machine. But let's pay some bills. We cannot do the show without our fantastic sponsors. One of my absolute favorite bands. You heard them at the beginning of the show. You'll hear them at the end. Bad Mary Band. You can find them on all social media at Bad Mary Band. You can find them on their website, badmary.com. You can support them financially on patreon.com/Bad Mary. And the best part is they are on all music streaming services. You can pop it in your ear right now.
Right in your ear hole. And our other sponsor right here on Facebook Gaming, it's Sergeant Finesse. 2 streams a day, outstanding gaming content, supporter games, giveaways, contests. Don't be a sucker. Check them out today. Throw them a like, throw them a follow. While you're at it, throw us a like and a follow. Just throw them out all over town like they were director's cuts and everybody could have one. Also, you can consider becoming a supporter. If you need to pick me up, follow the White Rabbit over to sneakenergy.com. Use code SGT at checkout. That's some good stuff. Also, if you need some fresh in your gear, go to geeksunleash.com. Use code SARGE there. If you want some Cobra stuff because we're hiring, don't go there because that shit I got off of Amazon. But that being said, when Sarge is on deck, you salute Brigade. I'm right with you, kids. GG, son. What else?
Very nice. Very nice. This week in US Comics, what's going on, my brother?
Oh, man. Did I have a fun, enlightening conversation? Actually, all I'm going to really say this week in this week's comics is going to be real short, real quick. It's really going to be more of a homework assignment because US Comics, and specifically US Comics characters, have found a new frontier, right? Like we would be on the deck of the Enterprise. There's no red shirts around here. It's blue or it's gold because we are going where no one or no comic book has gone before. Kids, if you're listening and watching, are you familiar with non-fungible tokens?
Ooh.
Well, you will be. Stay tuned for all the news for NFTs coming from your friendly faces, from the technically savvy. No, it's not true. I'm talking to you, Carl. Carl is very technically savvy. He is going to be holding our little sweaty palms as we traverse down the road of NFTs. It's going to be some real exciting stuff. Big news coming your way from the folks here at US Comics. So put your ear to the rail and pay attention because we're about to make some money, son.
The whole reason we actually do it, like those greedy execs.
That's right.
That John supports.
And we'll make the movies that we want to make.
Apparently not, because I don't get goddamn final cut.
What, by me, I meant me. I'm not talking about you, Charlie.
Fair enough. I'm starting your time. And now.
Let me get my composure. Folks, I'd like to apologize. Charlie and I, more often than not, our shared brain means that we mostly think exactly the same damn thing about whatever topic comes up. So it tends to be more of a cool, calming, woosah experience as opposed to today where it's straight up fisticuffs, just like Zilla and Kong. Ooh, I can't wait to put that shit on TV. But
Shotgunzilla.
That being said, oh yeah, you are Zilla, bro. I'm Kong. There's no doubt about it with your reptilian shitting ass. So
I'm gonna spit fire down your throat.
So
Just like
that all
prom.
being said, it's very interesting because first and first, mostly I want it to be very clear. Charlie and I, when we go into these topics, it's largely blind. We're not, we don't like game plan like we're playing on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Nothing like that whatsoever. Also, Lindor, if you're listening to this, I know it's like a 1 in a million shot. Sign the fucking contract, bro. What are you doing? Sign the contract, okay? Thanks a lot, buddy. So that being said, I I'm super duper excited for Godzilla versus King Kong. I realize there's not going to win any awards. It is straight up fisticuffs. Look, sometimes, again, I use this analogy. Analogy number 2. In
Damn
high
it.
school, right? You're going about your business. You got your homework, or you're thinking of an excuse to tell the teacher why you didn't do your homework. But you got your books. You're coming from your locker. You're about to go to room 303 in the extension. You're walking, and you hear those magic words, fight, fight. Do you stop and say, who's fighting? I wonder, what's the matchup going to be? What weight class? What grades are they in? No, you just pick them up, put them down, pick them up, put them down, and you get behind the school, up on the hill. You hope that mom is not crossing any kids because you want to see the fight. You don't even care who's throwing down. And that's where I'm at. Yeah, I'm excited for Zilla versus Kong, but any fight, I spent a good majority of my life watching old fights on YouTube where I know who's going to win. I just enjoy the competition, kid. So I'm going about, I'm keeping my hands on my fingers on the vein of the pulse to see the word on the street for this titan, this super duper duper heavyweight matchup between two of my favorite kaiju.
I got Starro. I think he's going to show up at the end.
Now, again,
The
Charlie's
director's
topic.
cut.
Charlie's topic was very interestingly selected. Certainly didn't ask me what I thought he should talk about, but it's interesting because there was a bombing, Charlie. If you have watched any Godzilla or King Kong movies, you'll know that what the little people, what the little army guys like to do is like, maybe bombing them will work. It doesn't. It never does.
Just
It's
pisses him
simply
off.
like just watch one King Kong or Godzilla movie, and you'll know when they show up. Don't bother bombing them. It's just gonna make them mad. But in any case, the trolls, because that's what they are. And Charlie, don't make me throw you in there, Mr. Director's Cut. The trolls thought, you know what? Maybe bombing will work this way. And what they did, little living under the bridge trolls that they are,
Douchebags.
they bombed the Zilla Kong review boards with Restore the Snyderverse.
Fucking pathetic. Regardless of what
What
you want.
The hell?
assholes.
What is wrong with you?
You know what infuriates me about that, and I won't eat up your time, but the 2-cent version, very nice. The 2-cent version of what enrages me about that is people had to beg and beg and beg for the Snyder cut of Justice League. There's probably just as many people that have been waiting desperately for Kong and Zilla
and
to
he's
be back
here.
in the
Ellis
the
is in the
mainstream.
chat.
Damn, Ellis has been doing research for 3 months. He's been using COVID to learn how to make Star Wars helmets, and he's also been like doing like he not only is Team Godzilla, he quite literally, statistically, can probably prove it. He's like, well, Godzilla has a shorter reach, but the problem with Kong is he has a bum
Ellis
left eye.
is literally in Zilla's corner, like rubbing his shoulders, like, all right, come on, he's breaking you up inside, kid. Let me throw in a towel.
I imagined Ellis hanging from like a helicopter wire, just like one scale, just
Stick and
making it real
move,
nice.
kid. Stick and move. He's breaking you up inside.
It's just it's like a pathetic, it is literally, you know what it is? It is AEW has an amazing pay-per-view, and the WWE trolls feel the need to come knocking on the door, and they're like, well, you know, it's only as cause WWE guys got hired. Shut the fuck up. Why are you here? If you hate something, avoid it. Leave me the shit alone.
Stop. Stay in your lane. Like, could you please? And again, growing up the way that we grew up, I often will throw it back to Charlie and my childhood. And you have to use an analogy in this case because it's so deplorable. I mean, no, I meant by you, I meant me. I have to because it's the only way I can communicate. Honestly, it is like one of those situations where, so growing up, let's say, and I didn't, but let's just say I cut the lawn, right?
Yeah.
I cut the lawn. I did some chores, and this is like, 13-year-old me. So 13-year-old me cuts the lawn, and our parents say, John, great job. Here's a toy, or here's some money to go buy some stuff, or whatever the case might be. And then little goofy Charlie, he sees me get something, and he's like, I want some of that too. Give me money.
please.
I was just about to say that. So Charlie puts his little grubbing, chubby, caramel coated hands up. He's like, money, please.
Caramel
and then,
is.
but all of a sudden, I don't smell any lawn clippings on you, Charlie. I don't see any sweat on your brow.
Very clean hands.
But there's no doubt about it. If our parents would have like, well, if you give one, you got to give the other. Whoop, and they would have handed over the greenback to Charlie. And I call bullshit on that. I called bullshit then. I called bullshit now. Then you wonder why we had to play Rocky downstairs in the basement. That's why, motherfucker.
I still don't breathe right.
Whatever. So I hope you enjoyed that caramel money. So
I did.
That's worth it. That's exactly the scenario. So if one person's getting something, if they're getting their moment in the limelight, then the have-nots, or not even the have-nots, the have-not-enoughs in their own minds, they have to, what about, I got caramel fingers, what about me? What about me? And then they go and they interject themselves in on a site that they don't have any rooting interest in, because if they were there for Zilla Kong, be there for Zilla Kong. You're a giant ass reptile and a giant ass monkey running around the world trying to figure things out, just trying to live your life in this COVID crusted nightmare. Leave these monsters alone, son. What are you doing? What are you doing? And I blame this on the same culture that says, you know what? If Snyder got a director's cut, everybody should get a director's cut. That's exactly the same
That is
thing.
bullshit.
Exactly the same.
It's nothing the same.
Of course
How
it is.
dare you lump me in that bullshit?
I'm lumping you in.
Audacity. It's not the same, because nowhere did I say like David Ayer should get you know what that would be the equivalent of? These pieces of shit are
Rewind the
saying
clock.
that
Rewind the clock. I want Charlie's audio clip of David Ayer should get this shit.
I'm the editor.
Play
Who are you pretending to talk to? I do all the
I'll
goddamn
just,
work
I'll
on
just
this
fake
show.
it myself. We sound like a. Yeah, my name is Charlie Rivera, and I think David Ayer should get a cut too. See,
False.
everyone heard it.
What I'm saying is there's a world of difference between the fact that I want to see the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad doesn't mean that I think James Gunn's Suicide Squad shouldn't come out. That's what you're saying. That's that bullshit red versus blue mentality that, frankly,
it's
disgusts
completely
me.
the opposite. I'm saying
That's what you can't misquote me. I'm the one saying it.
You're saying if one has it, everyone should have it. Of
I'm
course
not
you
saying
are.
that. I'm saying
So,
if people
all right.
want it, they want
So
it.
let me. This is running dangerously close to having the rewind being hit and going back to your shitty topic. But I'm gonna do it anyway because I love you and I respect
shitty
you.
topic. I
So-
will drive to New Jersey.
So the fridge is stocked, bro. It's still clean too. So that being said, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Are those the same people? The same if they then us, right? You're in agreement with that, like that rationale of like, well, if they have something, I should have it too. If they're getting attention, then I should get attention. If they're getting what they want, I should get what I want, right? Those are those people.
The pieces of shit that bombed Zilla versus Kong do not represent the entirety of the Snyder Cut people.
But you're saying those are trash people, yeah? Do you agree with that?
100%
Is that a fair
they're
statement?
trash people.
Okay. Would you agree that they're the same people that take umbrage with the fact of Gina Carano being fired from the best fucking show on Disney Plus, hands down, Mandalorian? So are those the same people that say, well, if Gina's fired, if she's going to be canceled, then you know what? You have to cancel Pedro too, because that's exactly what's happening. There is an active fire Pedro Pascal fucking, running rampage on the internet right now, which is total fucking bullshit. Whether you agree with Gina or not, that's entirely your business. That's not the topic. We can talk about that
Yeah.
off air, or we can have a discussion about it because
I
obviously
think
it's a few months behind us.
I think
But
those
those
examples
people
of pieces of
are
shit are the same.
trash.
They are
They're the
100%
same
trash.
people. They're the same people.
What I am saying though, just to beat the point to fucking about the head and neck, there are some people that are upset that Gina Carano got fired that aren't amongst the people that are like, fuck Pedro Pascal. What we're talking about are these little fucking troll groups.
Yeah,
that
it's where they
infest.
it's where they overlap. I'm
I
talking about those Venn
I
diagrams
suspect
where
those
that
pieces,
middle,
yes.
that trastopia of the middle
Yep.
where they intersect. Which, by the way, I know what episode art we're going to use now.
Trashtopia.
Those are the people. Like, it's these people.
Yes.
And I'm making a dirty symbol with my fingers. I'm trying
argue in 2021, I'm willing to bet that 20% of all fandoms are those pieces of shit. And of those 20%, 80% of them have at least two more Venn diagram chunks. Because I've been people have been trying to pull me into this bullshit gravity of like asshole negativity about everything. I'm not allowed to dislike the new Star Wars movies unless I'm like, women shouldn't have lightsabers. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
I love
Like
bitches with lightsabers.
You are pulling me into a group that I have not paid the entrance fee for.
Literally,
like, what are you doing?
Since 2016, people have been trying to force me into these 20% subsections that I'm not part of. Like, the girl Ghostbusters didn't suck because of vaginas. It sucked because no one fucking read the script and everyone just made up shit. The new Star Wars trilogy, minus moments that are very fucking fun and YouTubey. What the fuck? Now suddenly there's a new Jedi and she's the fucking shit and she doesn't wind up with a staff lightsaber?
Again,
fuck off.
That I mean, and here's the real issue.
Cobra versus G.I. Joe. This is not.
Don't listen, baby. Don't you listen. But that, just to kind of bring it back down to earth a little bit, and this is a lot of fun to yell and scream and jump up and down. But the truth of the matter is that for whatever the reason, whatever the justification, we had this conversation just the other day. Hurt people. Mm-hmm. I get it, right? Something happens to you, whether it's in reality or perceived, or like, it happened, you didn't realize it at the time, and now you're finally coming to, you're kind of getting some clarity, and like someone's got to pay. Someone's got to pay, and you can apply this.
World.
Yeah, shake my fist. When's it going to be my time, Lord? Please, right? Someone has to pay that bill when it comes due, and there's no letting things go. Right there, that is effectively off the table. And look, I completely understand and agree with some things you don't let go. Some things have to be addressed, if for no other reason than it's not going to make me whole, but my whole notwithstanding, everyone else's whole has to be protected. It's bad enough that it happened to me, and we're acknowledging that now. Now the selflessness of it has to kick in at some point, and the conversation has to be, and the focus has to be, it's bad enough it happened here, it's not going to happen anymore. That's the truth of it. But we haven't gotten to that place yet. In other parts of our society, I think we absolutely have gotten there. Other parts other parts of our society, we're moving in that direction, which I think is awesome and it's beautiful. I completely agree with. For whatever the reason, whether it's because traditionally this is a group where we've been left behind in many, many things, we're trailing there now too. This, for whatever reason, this nerd geek society that we belong to, we're card-carrying members of proudly. We wear it on our shirts. We have the stickers on the car. We have podcasts about this stuff. We take this light, airy material very seriously to a fault, and I acknowledge
scripture.
All of that. Yeah, it absolutely has. For whatever the reason, we as a group, as a collective group, we are trailing the rest of the pack. Maybe that's why we were the last ones to be invited to things. Yeah. Maybe we're the ones that had to be in a corner of the classroom or at a specific table at lunch, because we have something inherently in us That's a douchebag waiting to come out. It's the Dr. Jekyll and Mr.
Yeah.
Douchebag of it all. It's just waiting to erupt from us. So if you see somebody getting something nice, I want that nice thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you get a 2-hour version of something. I want all 4 hours. Oh,
Yeah.
somebody else doesn't get everything that they want. You get your favorite character taken away. Oh, then you know what? Everybody has to be taken away. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. And it's
Yeah.
bullshit because we all know we never played ball.
I also wonder how I also wonder how much of it is just from lack of experience. So if you love football, like we're Giants fans in this kingdom that is US Comics. So if you like the Cowboys, like, oh fuck you guys, fuck, I don't actually give
Turn
a
this
fuck.
show off now.
I don't actually like, I hate to break the illusion. I don't give a fuck. I don't get, like, I want my team to win, and I want every team they play to lose by fucking 100 points.
What was that now?
But John, the machete
Oh, my
away.
ear. Oh, my ear.
The that's something that I think very much is lost on geek culture. There are people who actively root for every Marvel project to be the one that undoes the mountain that is Marvel's success, because they're that upset that Booster Gold didn't get a TV series. Although, like, sincerely, come on, Booster Gold should have a TV series.
Charlie is just talking about himself. That's
No,
all.
but see,
You
I'm
cannot
not,
separate.
because I didn't sit down for Iron Man. When Iron Man first came out, I didn't sit down and I was like, well, this is gonna suck tits. like ultimately it's,
I think he did in that first one.
yeah, it was awesome. The director's cut of Iron Man, Favreau's a genius.
See, that I would have no problem with. Pull up that food truck, hand me some director's cut of that, and I'm all about it. See, I'm not impossible to deal with.
But but this is the Pandora's box, because I know you were mostly making a joke there, but there's probably a billion fucking movies that I could be like, hey, Superman 4 has a director's cut that's good and has money, and I'd be like, I need to fucking see that. Even if it was terrible, I kind of need to see, like, Ghostbusters 2 as the director's cut. It doesn't. But if someone told me that they fucking unearthed one and they're like, for $40 we'll show it to you, I'd be like, yeah. Let me see it twice. I need to take notes the second
It's very
time.
funny because, and here's a spoiler warning, which we really don't do very much. If you haven't watched, well, actually, it's not really that much. It's you've seen all the memes and shit already. They're doing in Falcon Winter Soldier, that fictional world. They're in essence kind of doing. It's mirroring real life. So
Oh, yeah,
they had Captain America. And it was great, and he saved the world and America's ass and the whole 9 yards. And then he went back in time, which is a terrible device because it opens a lot of doors, but we'll leave that alone. But now there's no more Captain America. The Captain America door closed. He hands off the shield. We're all well and good. Then somebody had the bright idea, say, you know what? If some Captain America is good, more will be better. So they drag up this big-eared son of a bitch. They slap an A on his forehead and they say, "Get to work, buddy." And clearly, if you read the comics and you're familiar with the U.S. agent and all that stuff, you have some idea of the direction that the lore takes us in. But who knows? With these shows, you never know. Maybe maybe he's gonna turn out to be Agatha. You never really know. You never know. But that being said, their fictional society is kind of doing what our geek nerd society is also doing. Like, it's the gimme of it. And I understand, like, I'm kind of talking myself out of it to a degree, but not as much. Like, I get that that's human nature where, look, we want what we want. I like this. I got some of what I like. Fuck it. Give me more because I like it. I like having it, right? It's exactly what I imagined it would be. So this is like the golden age, so to speak, in terms of like volume. But what do they say about quantity versus quality? So you need to sometimes before you start screaming, unless you're on a podcast co-starring my brother, don't scream about every damn thing because you have a flash of momentary desire. Maybe don't fucking cancel Pedro because your favorite character got canceled, or maybe even you don't give a shit about the character. You just liked her sentiments, and now you're gonna pick up you're going to pick up your phaser gun and join that militia and march down the street. Like sometimes you have to pick and choose your battles. Is this the fucking hill you're going to die on? Are you going to die on this particular director's cut hill, or are you going to live to fight another day? Because maybe there's something more important that's going to come down the fucking line where you're going to need to pick up your Han Solo blaster and fire away. Because goddamn it, I'm ready. Blaster in one hand, whip in the other.
And I think that's a huge difference in general about you and I. But also, I think you and I handle both sides of that fucking equation better. Because I am like more and more and more. Our comment section brought up the fact that Superman 4 has a cut with Bizarro that's wearing like a fucking zoot suit. And I need to see it. And our comment section needs to see it. And John, I refuse to live in a world where you wouldn't pay $20 to see that ridiculous cut for no other reason than to converse about it.
I paid for just the rough out for like a bullet point pitch meeting version of it. So yeah, no, I'm all in for that one.
Now again, the we are getting the signal to wrap it up here. But again, you've explained why culturally it is the way it is. What can change it? Is it just about being really loud about the happy stuff? Because these petitions can just all be happy.
To a degree, I think. The more, and we've spoken about this privately, but I'll just speak for myself in this case. I far more want to hear about what you love than what you hate, for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you hate something, obviously I'm not happy about it, because if I'm conversing with you in any capacity, I want you to love everything you ingest, whether it's art, whether it's food, whether it's, whatever the case might be. But if you hated something or if you loved it, that's no guarantee that I will also mirrored hate or love that particular thing. However, when you insist on your desires, on your perceived needs, on your uneducated opinions on the subject, superseding my own, you've now forced me to kind of pick up arms and to enter the conversation. I'm asking you now, personally and as a group, leave me out of it. Think what you think, right? Want what you want, but zip it up, because it's just fucking noise. You want to tell me what you love? I will sit and listen to all day. I will listen to that shit all day. I will smile. I'll even fucking probably lie to you and be like, yeah, I like that chat too. As long as you're not, video chatting with me, because my face cannot lie. I tell me what you love. I really sincerely don't care what you hate. All it could possibly do is bring me down. Why do you want to bring me down? More to the point, why do I want to invest in someone who wants to bring me down? Go be happy, brother. Life is too short.
That's very true. We need more of that Indiana Jones in our life. I think that is the first time you and I have gone toe-to-toe in quite some time.
Dude, Kong versus Zilla, step aside. The real fisticuffs are occurring right now here in the domain of U.S. Comics Cast.
Before we wrap it up, I did run a poll across all of our video engagement, as it were. That's, of course, YouTube, Facebook, and the Twitch machine at US Comics HQ. The poll was, who got the fight won? King Kong versus Godzilla. And by a huge margin, they think your boy Kong is going to get knocked the fuck out.
Whatever, bro. Whatever.
They're filled with haterade, but please make sure you comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff right here, US Comics HQ. That's on all social media. But my dear brother,
Word.
there is only one way we end each and every episode of US Comics Cast. And how is it that we do that thing?
It's really simple, kids. First, you got to turn the power on. Then you got to turn the volume up. Then you got to, tune Bad Mary in. Open up the window wide and scream out into the night sky. Save me, Space Girl. We out.
Hello, Earth, can you hear me? You won't believe what I've seen out in the farthest reach of space. My eyes have seen creation, my ears witnessed destruction, my skin has touched alien race.